Hi everyone, Mitt Morris here. Based off my last video on how to kind of start looking at chord shapes, and instead of using them to mainly solo out of, but also to use as kind of comping in the beginning of chord soloing, in that right or wrong example, I thought I'd expand on that some more. I've been getting a lot of good feedback and some good questions from it. So I'm going to take this as kind of like a little 4-part, half free, half purchasable course. So over the next 4 weeks, I'm going to put out a video a week talking about how you can take the melody for right or wrong, put it within the chord shapes, and then how you can start kind of like extrapolating from those chord shapes 2-note grips, 3-note grips, and 4-note grips, and how you can use that to just like comp rhythm in between your melody, and then how to begin using that for kind of that more chord solo, larger 4-note sound. So in this first lesson, what we're going to take a look at is just the melody in relation to the basic chord structures. If you go to the description, there's a link to be able to purchase all of the PDFs for the 4 parts. This has all of the notes and the chords all written out in standard notation and tab, and has chord charts of the chords that are used in the chord grips. So you can go check that out. Now, if you're following along on the PDF, you've just got the basic melody, and I'll play that for you right here. So we're going to go. Okay, so that's our basic melody. Now, I'm going to do the same kind of thing. You can learn the melody, and I'm not going to break down all the notes for you. That's in the PDF there. But I'm going to play all those notes and show you how they now relate to the chords. So we're in the key of G. That's the standard key to play this tune in. And we're starting on the 6th chord, and it's a dominant chord. So that's an E7. So our basic E7 on the PDF is a grip like this. So this is kind of like... we're going to use this as our foundation. Now we're going to get out like up to the higher strings, but this is the bass for it. So this is just an E7 with an added 9. So we have E, G sharp, D, F sharp. Works great. So we've got this. All those notes fit within that E chord, okay? Now when we come to the A7, our basic A7 is going to be this. We've got G, C sharp, E, and A. And then our melody for this goes after that E, then A chord. So all those notes fit right into that A. Okay? Now we're coming up to this B. This is going to be over the D7 chord. So our basic D7 is going to be like this. We've got D, F sharp, C, and E. So we have... Okay, and that's going to land on the G chord there. So that little... We're going up to the B. That's in the chord of D there. And then we're walking down to the E within our G chord. Just a G triad or a G6 works great for that. And the PDF is just a G triad. So what we have going on, we have this E to an A7, D7, G6, or G. Now what's super important with all of that is to realize and kind of form it so all of your melody notes fit within those chord grips, or maybe better said, they're leading to the next chord grip where that next chord grip is. Because that's, you can't, you don't want to just like play. Like that's not where the grip, like that's going too far up. That's not where the grip is down here, right? So you want to keep it within kind of where those common grips are, those shell voicings. Okay, so that's going to be the kind of first part. Now we're working up to this B minor 7. So we landed on our E, then we're going to go. So our B minor, basic B minor chord is just playing 7s across, right? So A, D, F sharp, B. So we have, that's right there, and then we come to an E7. So back to our E7, our normal one, just recycling it. So that's the 3 minor, right? And then there's the 6. Okay, now we're going to go to an A minor 7 to a D7. So we have this for the B7. There's that E7, then A minor 7, and then there's that D7 right there. So now we have the little chromatic, and that's all over our A chord, our A7 right there. So we have, okay, and then down to our D7. And you can already see, I've done this a couple times already, just kind of out of habit now, is like with that D chord, I know I'm stopping in at the E, but you can put the A in and you can get the melody note. So if you have that, it's all right there. So be kind of thinking of that, conceptualizing that. That's going to be kind of more in the next lesson here, but just something to note. All right, so that's like the first part of the repetition. So we have, just to show where the chords are, not really in time. Right, and that's where all that, there's a lot of going on there. And then all right, then we repeat it all again. There's our E, then A7, D7, and then we do this, and that's going to be a B7. So here's our B7 chord. We have A, D sharp, F sharp, B. Okay, and then back to E. And then typically you'll hear a diminished chord here, so you just take that A7 and add a B flat to it, the flat 9. So you have G, C sharp, E, B flat. And as a side note, these move in thirds. Excuse me. Right, all the way up. So you have multiple options with that. And then that ending there is just a descending 3 minor, 6, 2, 5, 1. So B minor, E7, A minor, D7, G. So you can kind of hear it. It's a lot of chord work and melodies going on, but that's the idea. Okay? So if we take all of those ideas now, we can just play, a good practice is just playing the chords through them. So, you know, I might go to the A7, to the D7. We're just seeing how they're resolving into each other, to the G. Up to the B minor 7, E7, A minor, D7, A7, D7. Now it's going to go back to the E7. Right, then to the A7, and to the D7, now to the B7, then to the E7, okay, then to the A7, then A7 diminished, then B minor, E7, A minor, D7, G. Okay, so start taking those little chords, and kind of just seeing where they are in terms of the melody and how they fit within the melody. And then the next lesson is going to start kind of taking just a little chunk of those chords and using that in between the melodies. So where we're going with that is, then you can just do chords, then the ending. Okay, so take those ideas and start kind of looking into that direction. And then, you know, I played the melody pretty straight in there, but sometimes I departed it from a little and just played like a little variation or a little riff off of it or whatever. You know, you can start kind of making it not just the kind of written melody. That's the idea of it, okay? So mess around with that idea, and you know, one last little tip, a good practice is whenever you're doing these melodies, just completely leave the melody and just play the chords like I did at the end there, and where you're just playing the chord grips, and that's just going to help you kind of where you can go in and out of this. So when you start playing the lead ideas, you can just switch one between the other, okay? So once again, if you're just watching all of this and want to follow along on the PDF that is purchasable, in the description below there's a link to my website. Check that out, and I'll see you for the next video. Thank you.